guys, and welcome to HeidiKMakeup. Today I'm going to talk about an issue that has been kind of, I've had a hard time with. So if you guys are new around here, consider hitting the bell. I make a lot of videos about project panning and using your stash and utilizing your makeup, as well as videos like this one about cruelty-free and cruelty-free makeup. So I hadn't really planned on filming this video. But if you didn't see my Pan That Palette finale, the Too Faced one, I will link it in the iCard and down below. I got a comment on that from Kitty Approved Makeup, and I will also link her channel down below. And her feedback was so helpful. So in that video, I talked about how I had finished up my Too Faced palette, kind of. Watch the video. And part of the reason why I picked it is because I had been trying to move everything out of my collection that was cruelty-free but owned by a parent company that tests. Now, I have two videos about this. I will also link both of those down below, and maybe in the iCard somewhere there will be a playlist or something. But if you've been watching my channel, I said in my collection video too, this is an issue that I've struggled with as long as I have been cruelty-free. And I have been on the journey to cruelty-free for about 6 years, maybe even longer, maybe 7 years. I think it was 6 years. I think I was pregnant with Roslyn when I first decided that I wanted to transition into cruelty-free. And ironically, it was actually a brand getting bought out by a parent company that even brought the issue of animal testing to my attention in the first place. And that's how a lot of this stuff kind of started on this channel. It's also how I started Project Panning, was trying to get rid of brands that I had already that weren't cruelty-free, MAC and Clinique and those kinds of things. So at the time, if you don't know what parent company testing is, I guess I probably should have started with that. Parent company testing is brands like, say, at the time of filming, this is an example, brands like Tarte, Bare Minerals, Buxom, Smashbox, NYX, we'll use NYX. NYX is owned by L'Oreal. NYX is owned by L'Oreal. And for the most part, my entire collection is cruelty-free without any of these kinds of companies. There is 4 exceptions to that. One is my toothpaste. I use Tom's of Maine toothpaste. And the other is I have a couple of lip products from NYX, and I have a lip balm from Burt's Bees. So we'll use NYX. NYX is owned by L'Oreal. NYX products, are cruelty-free. Nothing in NYX line is ever tested on animals at any point during the process. It's not tested, the ingredients aren't tested on animals, and the product itself is not tested on animals. When you're buying a product from NYX, you're not contributing, no animal testing happened in order for that product to land on your doorstep or in your hands or whatever. But L'Oreal owns NYX, and L'Oreal is a parent company that is notorious for animal testing. In my opinion, L'Oreal is one of the worst. So L'Oreal sells its products in China, where animal testing is required, although the laws on that is somewhat changing. And L'Oreal tests L'Oreal products on animals. So L'Oreal doesn't test NYX products on animals, but L'Oreal would test, like, say, their infallible eyeshadows or something like that on animals. And so if you are buying from NYX, some of that profit goes to L'Oreal. And so there are quite a few people who feel that you shouldn't buy from companies like NYX or Smashbox or Bare Minerals or Tarte or Too Faced or all these companies, right? Urban Decay, because some of that profit is going to a company that does test. And I've always had mixed feelings on this particular topic. And when I first went cruelty-free, I just went cruelty-free in general and didn't worry too much about parent companies. And then I've always said along the way that I think better is better. I think it's better if you have an option of choosing between, say, Smashbox and, I don't know, a brand like Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's better to buy the Anastasia product because better is better. And so I just always let you guys know if the product that I was using was a product that was owned by a parent company that tests. And then Too Faced and Becca got bought out by a parent company, and that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I was so frustrated because the vast majority of my collection was Too Faced, and I had been on this journey trying to get all the parent-owned companies out of my collection, and it wasn't necessarily something that I had against it. Like, I think that if I was my own person and I didn't film videos, I wouldn't have cared all that much. Like, I would have been like, oh, okay, and would have kept using the Too Faced. But I feel like when I film a video that I am filming kind of an endorsement and an advertisement, and I knew that a lot of my viewers were cruelty-free themselves, and I wanted to make sure that everything that I posted was in fact 100% cruelty-free and was something that, regardless of your stance, you could use. And so that was kind of like the journey that I've been on, and I've been trotting along for a little while on this journey, and been a little frustrated at times that I can't easily access things like toothpaste or lip balm or whatever that's not owned by parent companies that test. And so I've made little exceptions here and there, but for the most part I've tried to do it. And I de-stashed all of my Too Faced stuff and all of my Becca stuff, and then I got really frustrated because I spent a lot of money on that. Anyways, Kitty Approved Makeup commented and said, watch this video that Tashina from Logical Harmony posted, and that will also be linked down below. And they only let me put five things in the iCard, so it might be in the iCard, might not, because I feel like I've been saying things will be in the iCard quite a bit. But she told me to go watch that video, and I went to go watch it, and it completely turned that whole idea on its head. So for me, it was one of those things where I was choosing only to use products that weren't owned by parent companies, not because I necessarily have a problem with it personally, but because I thought you guys would only want to see that. And Tashina said in that video that, first off, and this is what I've said all along, say you're vegan, and I'm not, and I probably won't ever be, but let's say you're vegan, and you go buy a vegan product at a restaurant that isn't 100% vegan. So on one hand, supporting a vegan restaurant is a very good thing to do. That would be a 100% vegan restaurant. That is a really smart choice. It's a good thing to do. But if you're vegan, that doesn't necessarily mean that you only buy vegan food at vegan restaurants. And the thought is that you are telling the company, hey, there's a market for this, and maybe they'll put more vegan options on their menu. That was what Tashina talked about, and I've said something akin to that in a couple of the other videos. And yeah, I totally agree with that, kind of. Like, I agree with the idea that you're voting with your dollars, and when you buy a product from Urban Decay or from The Body Shop, you are telling L'Oreal, hey L'Oreal, it's profitable to stop testing on animals, and maybe they'll stop. Maybe they'll say, hey, like, there's a whole market of this, maybe we should stop testing on animals. And I've always felt like that argument was a little bit Pollyanna. Like, I feel like it's just very optimistic, and I feel like it doesn't think the way corporations think. I think that the reason L'Oreal bought NYX or Urban Decay is because L'Oreal realized that they can have a whole market in China selling the L'Oreal products where it is required to be tested, but still make profit off of people who won't buy their L'Oreal products here. So I do think that that's a little bit of an optimistic view of it, but the thing that Tashina pointed out that I thought was just a very compelling point was that when you first transition to cruelty-free, it can be really intimidating and really difficult and scary, and you feel like you don't want to do it. And knowing that you actually can look at your collection and that a lot of what you already have is cruelty-free can feel really reassuring, because it can feel like, okay, I can still shop where I normally shop, and I'm not going to be limited, and there are good cruelty-free products. So whether that product is something that is 100% cruelty-free, like Stila or Milani, or whether it's something that is cruelty-free but owned by a parent company that tests, like Tarte or Too Faced or Urban Decay, you can still feel good about it knowing that what you have in your collection is cruelty-free. And I think that most people do what I did, where they start off on the journey and they let the parent company thing go, and they're like, it's okay, because otherwise it can be so overwhelming that you just won't start, because you'll feel like you have no options. And of course there are options at Ulta and Sephora and all of those places that are 100% cruelty-free. Brands like Anastasia or Pure Cosmetics, or you know, things that you're already buying, Stila, Josie Marin. There are options there, but the idea that that you can easily transition is one of those things that I think is worth noting. And Tashina said in her video basically that making that transition easy for people and helping people see that that's something that they can do makes them more likely to make the transition themselves. And ultimately that is the best thing for the animals. Less animals are going to be harmed if more people go cruelty-free. And it is easier, obviously, to go cruelty-free with more brand options, especially if those brand options aren't all indie brands that you have to order online. Those are great too. It's awesome to use those, but they are also brands that you're familiar with and brands that you can easily get locally. And Tashina's point about that just like really struck a chord with me, because I had been transitioning away from parent-owned companies because I film. And she basically was saying that she's going to feature companies that do have parent companies because she films and because she has a blog. Because Logical Harmony, which by the way is my favorite resource when it comes to a cruelty-free list, I find it to be absolutely the most thorough list, and it's the only list I trust. If it's not on Logical Harmony, I just don't buy it. And so her point about that was just really compelling to me, and it made me just completely rethink how I feel about it. And so moving forward, I have decided that I will buy from brands that are owned by parent companies that test, because I would rather people realize that they can transition to cruelty-free and that it's not going to feel limiting to them at all. And I feel like being able to feature brands that they're already using, like some of the ones I've mentioned here, like Urban Decay, or even in the drugstore with like NYX, I feel like makes everyone's life easier. So moving forward, I'm going to be willing to buy from those brands. Now that doesn't mean that I'm only going to buy from those brands. And there's a lot of things on my list that I want to try from other brands. Like I want to really explore Pure, for example. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. So I hope that we can all get along. I think that it's definitely not a black and white issue. If you only buy from companies that aren't owned by parent companies that test, I think that you're at a point in your journey where you don't need me to tell you which companies those are, where someone who's new and just transitioning is having a hard time figuring out what they can use. So if I use something like a NYX lip color and you're further along in your journey and you've decided that you don't want to use that, that's your choice to make. But I think that I will still buy from them. That being said, I have a whole wish list that I want to film, and nothing on that wish list is from those companies. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to go out and go on a huge Tarte haul or something like that. But I think that if there's a product that I like and it's something that is made by one of those companies, I'm going to purchase it. So I hope that everyone will be nice to each other in the comments and kind of understand where I'm coming from. And I would really encourage you guys to watch Tashina's video, because I think that her video is much more compelling than mine, and I think that she was much more eloquent than I was. But it is something that I've been kind of struggling with for years, and I think that she made some points that really struck a chord with me. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.